So the game I chose to play this week was Yakuza 2, which is why I played Yakuza the week before, or well, at least attempted to play through it. I thought I'd do a bit of a background video before I actually did like an update on how I'm playing through it, so to kind of put the ramble in all one place. Um, I did really enjoy the first game when I first got it, which is obviously why I bought Yakuza 2. But when I got it, I think it came out like November, December, and it was right at the end of the natural life of the PS2. I mean, the PS3, I'm pretty sure was already out, and it had been a long delay from coming over from Japan, because I think they got the sequel maybe a month after we got the original, and because of how the original went with the amount of money they spent on it and didn't do as well as they'd hoped, there was a bit of a delay there. I mean, with the localization they've done, it could have been, I don't know, 3-4 months release after the Japanese one, because I mean, it's completely subtitled rather than dubbed, because obviously they spent a fortune on the Hollywood actors, and especially now that I think it was actually 2000. Let me just check. Probably says somewhere on here. Well, whenever it actually came out, 2008. I think copyright is on the back of here. So 2008. So I mean, it's 2 years after the PS3's been released. Japan already has Yakuza 3. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for it over here. Even signs of it coming out. So yeah, they could have knocked that together a lot quicker if it was just going to be subtitled and obviously like graphical changes, things like that, because they still have like actual bottles of Jack Daniels rather than just, I don't know, Jim Davis or whatever knockoff name you want to use. But yeah, you can't help but compare these two games that I have here, Yakuza 2 and Shenmue 2, because, and yes, that is Dreamcast version. I also have the Xbox version of Shenmue 2, but yeah, they're both released in the twilight of their respective consoles. Obviously, with the Dreamcast, it was pretty much dead on arrival, unfortunately, but that's another topic for another time. And both had English dubs first time round. Second time round, although Shenmue 2, I think it was well, especially since it's like 2001, pretty much worldwide release. I think there's like a month between the Japanese and the European release. Of course, with the Microsoft deal, it was 2003, I believe, when it came out on the Xbox. So obviously, that America had a long wait, which made a very nice change, in my opinion. But yeah, like completely different voice cast and not released at the best times. Both did, at least in the Western market, not as well as hoped. And while Yakuza 3 does actually exist, there's still little sign of it coming over to America. I mean, Sega are apparently still considering it, but well, they've not said they've killed off the Shenmue thing yet, so I wouldn't expect confirmation either way for a very long time. But yeah, I mean, they are very similar games. Yakuza, the Yakuza series obviously is a bit more extreme. I mean, this is 11 plus or 13 plus age rating, whereas Yakuza is an 18 rated series. Obviously, a completely different world that you're in, but it's very much a spiritual successor because of the way it's all set up. I mean, you have the QTEs that were introduced in Shenmue. You have the kind of open world adventure, more story based than anything else, heavily based around a fighting system, because Shenmue was originally going to be a Virtua Fighter RPG, if my memory serves correctly, starring whoever the hell the main character is from Virtua Fighter. I don't know, I've barely ever played them. I did own Virtua Fighter 4 and possibly some of the others, but they never got much playtime. It's just like, ooh, I've heard this is good, and yeah, I buy too much stuff. But yeah, it's pretty much sales-wise doomed to fail, because while I have no problem, I tiny problem with playing a subtitled game rather than a dubbed game. I mean, voice acting fine, nothing wrong with that. The only issue I have is I barely understand any Japanese. I mean, I know very little, but still below preschoolers level. So I have to pay a lot more attention to a game like this. Especially with the cutscenes, it's not something that I have to stop everything I'm doing and watch them rather than how I would normally play. I mean, I realise that's how you're supposed to play games. You're not supposed to be doing other things at the same time, but what can I say? I don't have much of an attention span most of the time. And even as I'm making this, I have a video on pause, I've got the internet all up and running, I've got Football Manager running in the background, I've got Sky News on, and the PS2 with Yakuza 2 is still running. It's just I'm going to do this and tidy and then get back to it. I couldn't be bothered to go and turn the PS2 off. So yeah, it's only a minor niggle, but I mean, I was happy playing through Shenmue 2. When I've replayed it, I've gone to the Xbox version because of convenience, because I don't actually know if my Dreamcast still works. It's been that long since I've played it. It's at least a year. I don't think I've played it since I moved into this flat, which was May last year. So, I mean, I don't know if it still works. I mean, it's just for ceremonial purposes, all this now, because like most of my Dreamcast stuff, the little things that hold the disc in place, they all broke, so oh well. But yes, I play the Xbox. I think I might prefer the Japanese dub, but at the end of the day, especially with newer games, you'd hope there was some kind of dual language option, because there are some really hardcore fans that just always believe like it should be as original as possible, and of course there's some people who that was one of the main reasons I don't think it. Well, that and the fact that the PS2 was long forgotten. It's just like, what? This is on the PS2. Okay, it's a new game, but I can get shiny new things that look a whole lot better. And yeah, it was stupidly timed and all that kind of stuff, but it's still a great game. I'm really enjoying it. I'll do another video saying how far I've got and whatnot and other thoughts, but this is just a very rambled introduction to the game for anyone who didn't actually know it, whereas I'm going to try and keep the actual challenge videos to I've got this far, I'm enjoying it, what I like, don't like, just yeah. So yeah, that was a very pointless video, and I still have this damn cold, which is why I might sound a little bit weird. And yeah, no one's watching this anyway, so who cares?